Okay, good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out tonight, Wednesday, July 18th, 2012, 6:10 in the evening. We're here at 790 Homestead Boulevard, Homestead, Florida, and we're about to start our City Council meeting. Tonight, the invocation will be given by Pastor Travis Johnson, pastor of Life Point Church of Homestead. The Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick and the Police Explorers. Would everyone please rise?
Let's bow our heads and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your good grace on our city and for surrounding us with really wonderful people to do life with. We don't take it for granted because what we have here is unique. It's not like any other town in America. We just want to stop and say thank you. We pray tonight, according to Jeremiah 29, that you would prosper our city and leave it in peace. I pray for the man in the ditch and the woman in the well, that they would be redeemed and that you would touch our neighborhoods. Lord, thank you for our leaders who steward the resources that you've given us. I pray that they would do it well, and we thank you for their good service. Father, we stop and honor you for your good son Jesus, who was born in the backside of nowhere, who changed this world, and who's redeemed my life and the life of many good folks in our community. And Father, we pray that you continue to work here among us. Let us be your hands and your feet in this city. Bless us today as we deliberate, and thank you for good wisdom and good confidence. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Would you please join me in recognizing our nation's flag? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, march. Right face. Forward, march.
Please be seated. Recognize Pastor Johnson and the new church that just opened, Life Point Church, and thank you for coming tonight, sir. And thank you, Police Explorers and Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Here.
Councilman Maldonado.
Here.
Councilman Shelley.
Here.
Councilwoman Warman.
Here.
Councilman Williams, absent. Vice Mayor Burgess, absent. Mayor Bateman.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. First item on the agenda tonight is going to be public comment. Please come forward and let's try to keep it to 2 minutes. Public comment, state name, address for the record.
Ed Powell, 745 Southeast 18th Lane in Homestead. I missed the last couple of monthly meetings, so I have about 6 real brief items. First of all, the 4th of July celebration the city put on at Champions was a phenomenal success. We sold it out, and probably the best idea was that we charged for it. It was worth 10 times what the cost, helped the city, and putting that on, the fireworks were awesome. Next item, I have had a number of people come into the visitor center talking about our wonderful trolley system. It is truly a benefit to a lot of people. Now we have 2 routes to that trolley. We have the west side that's pretty close, pretty compact, and I don't know what their turn is. The thing I'm getting on the east side is that route is getting very circuitous, and people are depending on a trolley that has no schedule. So I've had people say that they've had to walk the length of Waterstone to come out to Campbell and not know when that trolley's going to be there. They should time with that reasonable amount to circuit that and then stick to a schedule and then post when they're going to be at those places. That's my suggestion. That was some of the people. They said they realize it's free, but if you miss it and you got to wait an hour, you could be late for work. I also want to announce the 25th, Wednesday at Royal Palm Clubhouse in Keysgate. Ron Saunders is going to bring us an update on windstorm insurance and citizens, and if you've dealt with them, you'll know the problem with citizens. I just wanted to say, you were going to have a comment about the jet on US 1 being moved and repainted. That's been deferred, but there was some lacking of funds that the MAC Committee, Military Affairs, last week voted to fund some of that cost to move that aircraft to the base to get it painted. The meet and greet on the MAC is an ongoing thing. It's August 10th. It's at the air base, and if you haven't been there, it's a great time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Alessandra Schlichter, and I live at 3140 Fairways Drive in Homestead. I'm not here to bark at you today. We work on the animal lovers from the Gateway Animal Alliance. We're just here to give Mayor Bateman just a certificate of our appreciation for showing support for animals in Homestead. He went to a meeting with us with all the county directors and county appropriate personnel, and started the ball rolling. We have got something in the works, and we've got a plan, and he set up the meetings and directed some personnel from the city to answer our questions and help work with us. And we just thank you so much. And I also wanted to say, thank you. And one of my biggest campaigns next is to encourage everybody to get out and vote, because the Pet Trust just passed unanimously yesterday at the County Commissioners, 13-0. So now it will be on November's ballot. You can vote yes for the Pet Trust, which will direct funds strictly to individual animal organizations, including ours, including the shelter if we get one, when we get one. So my mission next is get out the vote. I just got my voter's registration card for the first time in my life. I'm going to shame, guilt, and goad everybody I know into getting their voter's registration if they don't have it, and making them vote, not only for the Pet Trust, to keep you all in place, because thank you all for everything. Thank you for supporting this. We hear it, we feel it. Thank you. Jana has a press release for the Pet Trust that passed yesterday, so she'd like to pass those out to you so you can see what that's about. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
I'll tell you, the trip down to the county started out very slow, but I can tell you with these two ladies in that meeting, it picked up very quick. I can tell you they are a ball of fire, and it's true, the old squeaky wheel gets the oil, because they left out of there with about 55 gallons of it, because everything that we asked for, they were nodding their heads yes, and I mean, unbelievable. I had spoke with the mayor of Florida City on the way up there, and he gave me permission to speak on his behalf for Florida City, and they actually were willing at that point, not knowing that the Pet Trust was even going to pass, but they were willing to carve out the dog tags that are sold for Homestead in Florida City and set those funds aside for us to start some type of small shelter or neutering and spade process here in Homestead, Florida City. So these young ladies are unbelievable. They're go-getters, and I really believe that it's going to pass when it hits the ballot, because nobody loves pets more than we do. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Thomas Fryer. I'm a multifamily property owner in the city of Homestead. I've come here to discuss a little bit about the problems with the sanitation, more specifically the trash piles in the city of Homestead and the changes in the ordinance. The good news is, from what I understand, is we're going to be going back to weekly pickups, which was my main concern within the city of Homestead, and I'd just like to voice my support for the weekly pickup. The multifamily neighborhoods have been struggling very much so when you went to the first and third and second and fourth days of the month. The biggest problem being that there's some confusion because that obviously changes when the first falls on a Wednesday, and if you own multiple properties, then there's an issue with keeping track of which days you're getting picked up on, and then the fifth week rolls in there and throws you off again. So I am glad to hear that we are going back to weekly pickup in the near future. The other issue is the 24-hour trash pile, only allowing you to put your trash out one day prior to pickup. That does become a problem when you have to execute an eviction. As landlords, we don't have the luxury of determining when that stuff is going to leave the apartment. The Miami-Dade Police Department calls us, says, we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m., and that's when it happens. And we have to remove the stuff from the apartment, and then after one day it needs to go on out to the street. The last time I executed an eviction, since it was in the fourth week of the month, the third week of the month, there was 5 Tuesdays in that month, and I had to keep the evicted property in my parking lot for almost 3 weeks, which was a real inconvenience. I think the reason you started that ordinance is because of the problems with the trash being dumped on the side of the streets illegally. That has been a problem in Homestead. I've been a landlord here since before Hurricane Andrew. As far as a recommendation there, I'd like to see the neighborhood facility possibly be improved to the point to where it's user-friendly, so that more people will be encouraged to use it rather than putting the stuff out on the street side, which encourages illegal dumping. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Robert Smith. Everybody calls me Bobby. I've run the Dick Connolly Football League in Homestead. I've been a part of it for 35 years. And I'm here tonight to ask the council a question on fees that they're asking us to charge people that live outside of the city of Homestead. I don't live in the city of Homestead. I've run this league for 30 years at least. I don't do it because I get paid. I do it for free. It's a hobby of mine. I love coaching football. We have a lot of underprivileged families out there, and the people that have kids play out there cannot afford to pay extra money to play. We're in a negative at the end of every season because we just don't charge enough for registration for our kids to play. And now, from what I've heard through the City of Homestead Parks, they want us to charge $10 extra for any child that doesn't live within the city boundaries. I've mentioned that to a few parents that don't live in the city, and they say, well, we shop in the city, we do business in the city of Homestead, doesn't that count for something? And I really can't give them an answer. I'm just asking the city for an answer, and if you can tell me what I can tell a parent of a child that, they're going to have to pay $10 extra to play football.
No, that's a very good question, Mr. Smith, and I'd like to do the manager talk to the Park and Rec Director.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. We notified the leagues that we were looking into charging for non-residents a $10 charge extra. Since I've been the director, I've gotten the registration through the leagues, and about 70% of our kids that play in our parks are non-residents. Other municipalities and cities have a charge for outside residents at their parks, so we are looking into that for revenues to better our parks with people that are not taxpayers who are using our parks, and we are looking into that.
Is this typically done in other municipalities?
Yes, sir, it is.
It is?
And it's more than what we're going to charge. They're looking at $15 to $20.
Okay, council, question, answer.
Quick question, is it mission critical to charge an additional $10? I know other municipalities are doing it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to. So is it mission critical for us to increase the price?
Councilwoman Fairclough, no, it's not critical where we can do it right away. We can do any direction you would want us to look at, but that's something that Parks and Rec has notified the leagues, and that's Dick Conley and the two baseball leagues that we deal with.
Well, I move that if it's not mission critical at this point and considering the fiscal climate, that we hold the line on the fee so that we don't place a burden on the families that have their children participating in those extracurricular activities.
I'll second that motion. Discussion? Ms. Wallman? Yes.
As Parks and Rec's chair, we've been looking at this for many, many years. And it's not something that anybody wants to do, but it's something, you know, we get requests all the time. Bobby, you know, I've worked with you for years. Actually, we've known each other forever. But, you know, the leagues are constantly asking us for new batting cages and new this and new that, new lighting, new everything. And we went across the board, and again, it's taken us years to evaluate, to bring forth this problem. But it's something that the only way that we could see that we could supply you with the things that the leagues are constantly asking for. And it's not you, Bobby, it's all the leagues, and they're always asking for so many things. And then when we realize that 70% of the children don't live here in the city limits of Homestead, and they don't have those responsibilities, the parents don't, that do live here in the city of Homestead. So with that being said, I feel that it's only fair, and it's a way for us to give you more services. And Dade County provides a lot of these parks with the same services. So that people choose, because our leagues are so good, they choose to play in our city with our coaches. So that's how that came about, Mayor. And it wasn't anything, it wasn't anything to be negative towards anybody at all, or anything. Just so that we could provide better services for our Parks and Rec leagues.
I think the point is well taken. It's just the timing is not quite appropriate with the economy as weak as it is right now, and with the fact that the number one thing what we strive towards is quality of life, and to get our kids off the street and keep them entertained and keep them involved in a good climate. So that's the only reason why I quickly respond to the second of the motion, because I truly believe that now is the time more than ever we need to step up. So thank you for bringing it forward. Do we need to go ahead and actually, I mean, is this going to be done, or this was just a thought process?
Again, what we were doing was notifying. It was going to be brought up once the leagues have renewed their contracts. Right now, Dick Conley has no contract with us. Neither does the Homestead Little League or the Youth League. When they renew theirs for their leagues, that's when we notified them that's when this cost was going to go into effect. So this would have to be brought up to council for a vote.
Okay.
When we brought that up.
Okay. Then we'll
but if you're asking me to, since the time of that, then I'll do the direction what this council asked for.
Well, I think what we're just asking is just to let's look at it each year as we go. Look at it in the next year, and we'll see what the climate's like and what the economy's like, and we'll move appropriately.
We'll do it.
Of course, there is some clarity to staff. I think there is a motion and a second. I think that it should be voted on so that there's some direction to staff as to how you want to proceed.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just real quick for the discussion. The only problem I have with making a vote like this tonight is that, if it comes before us with a information sheet that I can weigh the pluses and the minuses, because Councilwoman Walden makes some good points, and Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick and the mayor make some good points. I really need more information before I'm making a policy decision. So when was this going to go into effect, or how soon can this come before us so that we can weigh in whether this should start this year or next year or any year?
The Homestead Little League and the Youth League start their winter league around in August, and then we would start doing negotiations with them now. That's when it would went into effect. But I can get you information if that's what you request. That I can give you information what other parks charge.
Because I'd be more comfortable making this decision at the next PAL meeting with an actual information sheet, so I can weigh the pluses and minuses of it versus just doing it tonight without having the information in front of me, other than just comments.
Mayor and council, there's just one thing I want to notify you on. Our parks are one of the cheapest in Dade County compared to other cities. And we did raise the rates when I became director, and very, very low, but we're not even competitive with other parks. That's why we got so many people playing here.
Question, Mayor?
Yes, please, Mr.
Through the chair to Dennis. Do we have, you have a set plan for the fees that we are, let's say those extra fees that we'd be collecting? Do we have a plan of action and what we're going to be doing with that extra money that we're going to get? And if you could bring that forward and that information, I think it would be very helpful, and so we can make a better decision.
Councilman Maldonado, here's a prime example. The Homestead Little League has 7 fields. We just recently did all 7 fields. It cost us $19,000 to redo the clay. Homestead Little League only pays us $3,000 a season. So, you know, it's not helping our parks when we're giving our fields away for free. You know, that's why we're looking at this $10 charge extra.
And can I suggest, since there's a lot more information here, if we could provide all the information to the council so that you can at least have everything in front of you, and then we can have that to consider.
I think that's fine. I was moving forward only under the city attorney's direction at that point. I think that nothing's going to happen until it comes to this council anyway, so do you have a problem with that? No. Okay, let's move on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I would just show the motion withdrawn and the second
Yes,
withdrawn.
motion withdrawn. Second.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Dennis, and I live at 2721 Southeast 12th Place, Homestead, Florida. I am the Secretary of Committee for a Better Homestead, also known as CBH. CBH is a nonpartisan, nonprofit group of concerned citizens and voters coming together to discuss issues, ideas, government spending, and matters which affect the community at large. It's our intention to work with council and the mayor to help bring about positive change for the city of Homestead. Our next meeting is going to be July 19th, which is tomorrow, at the Keys Gate Golf Club. It's going to be at 7:00 p.m. There's going to be finger foods and a cash bar, and everybody is welcome to join. We're going to be discussing a bunch of topics, really, including the reopening of the Seminole Theater, LIBOR, local hiring and businesses, the city budget, and much, much more. So now I leave the floor over to our treasurer, Mr. Greg Wells.
Restart.
My name is Greg Wells, 533 Northwest 14th Street, Homestead, Florida. I am the, as stated, treasurer of the Committee for a Better Homestead. And at these meetings, like you were saying, we discuss many topics. Crime is one of them, bath salts, etc., trucks down the highway, many topics. And one of them is, and I've been appointed to kind of address, is the budget. The budget is the most important job of the councilman and the mayor, elected officials. We would like more citizens' input into the reviewing of the budget. From what I understand now, the budget is put on the website in a preliminary stage, and then you can go on there, and if you know it's there, and click on it and print out the 600 pages. What we want to do is make more citizens' input by making it more transparency and awareness as to how our tax dollars are being spent. And I think we're doing good. I just think we're trying to be proactive, especially on the news that some of these cities are having problems with. So, therefore, we are recommending the council, to establish a Citizens Budget Review Committee. We suggest each council member choose one representative to participate in this committee. The committee will begin reviewing the preliminary budget when available tomorrow if necessary. With this committee, we as citizens will be better prepared for the review of the final budget, and that give us a little bit more input. We can get out emails to people, get citizens more involved with their city and how things are going. And I think this just helps everybody out, and probably more than likely will make the council members' jobs a little bit easier. So we would like to recommend this, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. One of the items you brought up there, Mr. Manager, I was going to talk about it a little bit later anyway, but let's look into the bath salts, because the bath salts have become, a real detriment to a lot of communities because it's so easily bought over the counter at convenience stores. I'd like to ask the city attorney to just look at what other cities are doing throughout Dade County.
I know, Mr. Mayor, some cities are passing ordinances.
I know, that's why I'm bringing it up now. I did an outline on it tonight.
We've drafted some ordinances for other cities on this, so if you want to take a look at one, we'll put it on the next Cal agenda just for you to look at.
Council, feel comfortable with that? I think it's important that we look at it now before we end up with a death on our hands. Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mayor, City Council officials, and the audience. My name is Joe Von Lauer. I am the president of a committee for a better homestead, and I'm also an economist. I've been spending a lot of time on the budget work in the city, and I have an item which I think bears our attention. You've all heard about the so-called LIBOR scandal. It's been on the TV lately, and it's the talk of the town. And you would say, well, what has that got to do with us? As it turns out, it may have a great deal to do with us. LIBOR is an acronym that stands for the London Interbank Offered Rate. Some of you probably have mortgages that are tied to LIBOR. LIBOR is the most important interest rate standard globally. Almost everything is tied to LIBOR. Actually, LIBOR interest rate is generated from 10 different currencies, and the interest rate changes daily, monthly, quarterly, all the way out to a year. It is announced on a daily basis at 11 o'clock in London, and that is the standing rate for the day. The LIBOR, let me read a little bit from some of these articles I have here. Now, cities, states, and municipal agencies are weighing legal action. And we're going to say, well, why is that? Dozens of lawsuits filed by municipalities against Bank of America, J.P. Morgan, Chase, Deutsche Bank, and Barclays, to name a few. And the interest rate influences what consumers, businesses, and investors pay on a wide range of financial contracts, such as interest rate swaps, floating rate notes, mortgages, currencies, and so forth.
Let me stop you there, since you're at your time. So let me stop you there and ask, through the manager to the finance director, whether it be swaps or whatever one of the five that he mentioned there, are we in any trouble in any way, the city of Homestead, with LIBOR connection?
Not at this time, but I do have a meeting with a representative from SunTrust, with whom we have the swaps for next week. But in my early discussions with him, we're not affected by that at this time.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I really need a couple of more minutes here, because this is an issue that does affect us. There's no question about it. What we actually need is a list of every swap that we currently hold and every swap that we have owned over the past 10 years. We are directly affected by this interest rate manipulation, and it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of, this is a guess, but maybe $250,000 to $2.5 million that we stand to recover. This is something that we have to look into.
Okay, let me ask this. Let me ask you if you find some time through the manager, to set with the finance director, if you will, and if we are in danger, it is citizens' money, so I'm not going to sit here and deny a citizen. to look into that, find out.
It's not danger, Mr. Mayor. It's the fact that these banks have defrauded the municipalities of a lot of money. And so we want to retrieve that money.
So you think there's money out there now that could be owed to us?
There's no doubt about it. This is a fact. I mean, the suits have already begun, especially the smaller municipalities around the country have begun to take action because it stands to reason that those that are first in line are probably going to get the quickest action.
All right, let's do that, please. You contact the finance director tomorrow. You find out when you have some time, and let's see let's answer the citizens' question, all right?
Okay, yes, I'll be willing to spend some time on that.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and citizens. My name is Leilani Weiss. I'm the president of the Ladies Auxiliary to the Veterans of Foreign War. My address is 12109 Southwest 250 Terrace, Homestead. The reason why I'm here today is for our up-and-coming Freedom Walk. This will be our 6th year that we've had it. The Freedom Walk is a walk remembrance and support. It is an event that allows citizens the opportunity to remember the victims of September 11, 2001 attacks on the Pentagon, the Twin Towers, and Flight 93 over Pennsylvania. It is also an opportunity for us to show our support to the many men and women in uniform, past and present, who protect our freedom. On the 11th anniversary of that tragic day, please come and join us as we commemorate the tragedy that occurred. Our community will join thousands of communities across the great nation as we come together as one for the same purpose. Last year, our community had a great turnout. It was significant because it was the 10th anniversary of the horrible event. Not only the 10th anniversary, but every year is an anniversary. The 11th, the 12th, so we have to remember that. However, let us always remember and reflect every year just as strong and passionate. There will be a short program to reflect 9/11 preceding the walk. After the walk, there will be a celebration of freedom. What we're looking for are sponsors from the community, private business. Each participant will receive a Freedom Walk shirt and a gift bag with trinkets from the community merchants upon registration. We are looking for sponsors for this event to help offset the cost. A donation of $250 will get your logo on the back of our shirts and programs that will be distributed. So I guess my time is up. I have flyers in the back. City of Homestead has always been a great supporter for this cause. And we also have to remember we've had 4 soldiers from Homestead die, and we have to remember them and everyone else. So,
yes, ma'am, you did a great job last year, and I walked in that walk.
It was great. It was long.
Beautiful turnout. And I commend you for it. I would just say not because of the length of the walk, not that I'm trying to squirm out of 2 miles, but I think just for the logistics and the policing of it, you might consider just a shorter route.
Well, I'm meeting with Captain Kent and another officer on Friday, and we will check into everything so that everything will be worked out. We have a car you can roll. We have wheelchairs, strollers, everything.
Right.
We have a truck that goes around and picks you up if you can't make the 2-mile walk.
Well, it's not the 2 mile I was worried about. It's just the logistics of it. Going that far down US 1, it did cause, a considerable backup, which is, fine. I mean, I just think that was the only hurdle I saw.
Okay.
Was that this
well, we're gonna work on that this year, but Mayor, I'm sorry, but when I do this walk, it's really heartfelt. My son's 3 tours. My other son's in 3 tours. My other son's going back for his 3rd time in November in Afghanistan.
Right.
I have to, as a mother, and You know, I remember, and I think about the 70-pound packs these soldiers have to wear, no umbrellas, no nothing to keep them from the, you know, so that's what keeps me
It's
going.
simply a suggestion, so when you sat down with
Yes.
the police department, if you did any pushback, that would be an option, right?
Yeah, so Captain Kent's gonna help me with it Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you, guys, thank you very much. Oh, we have flyers to give out to everybody. Thank you.
Chuck Schumacher. I'm a Homestead resident at 1972 Southeast 21st Court. I'm here tonight to ask you to take action to lower the unacceptably high crime rate in Homestead. In 2010, the Homestead violent crime rate was 3.3 times the national average, and only 16 cities in the state of Florida had a higher crime rate than the city of Homestead. And in 2011, the crime rate in Homestead got worse. According to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement crime statistics for 2011, violent crimes, which include murder, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault, increased by 12.8% in Homestead. Since our population increased by 6.3%, the Violent Crime Index, which is the number of violent crimes per 100,000 population, only increased 6.2%. In comparison, Dade County had a decrease of 2.4%, and the state of Florida had a decrease of 4.3%. Homestead increased 6.2%. I live in Keysgate, as does Mayor Bateman and Vice Mayor Burgess. My neighborhood, Palm Isle Estates, has 96 residences. Per the Homestead Police Department statistics, in 2011, we had 15 crimes. That's one crime for every 7 homes. Fairways, where Mayor Bateman lives, had 7 crimes. That's one crime for every 10 homes. Keysgate is considered to be a safe and upscale community of Homestead. Do these crime rates sound safe and upscale? In closing, the crime rates in Dade County, the state of Florida, and even Florida City are all going down, while the crime rate in Homestead is already unacceptably high and is still going up. I expect that it will cost money to lower the crime rate, and that would require an increase in taxes. I also believe that the residents of Homestead deserve to know the crime rate facts and then decide on whether to accept this high crime rate or take steps to lower it. Please put additional police officers on the streets of Homestead in order to lower the unacceptably high crime rate in our city. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Schumacher. And I had the privilege of meeting with Mr. and Mrs. Schumacher this afternoon, and Captain Kent. And Captain Kent is looking into those numbers that were brought forward, and those numbers were supplied by FDLE. Those numbers came from FDLE and the FBI, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So we're looking at those numbers because there is a possibility that they could be skewed a little, and I'm not backing up on them, just protection of our own police department, because I think we have a wonderful police department. And that is the fact that a lot of times that we get tagged for a crime that has a address that says Homestead on it. And there are many, there was probably 5 or 6 zip codes outside the city of Homestead, outside the physical 16 square miles of Homestead, Leisure City, Naranja, Princeton, Goulds, that all have city of Homestead zip codes. So we're going to look into that, make sure that the numbers are accurate, and we're going to get on top of it. We're going to figure out what we can do through our crime prevention program that we have now, in which Mr. Schumacher is part of. And thank you, sir, for spending the time that you spent and the effort that you put in.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I will also send the backup data to Captain Kent, so he has the numbers and he can see exactly where they're coming from.
And I recently had a meeting with Chief Roll and his command staff. And one of the items I brought to them a couple weeks ago was asking permission to speak with the Dade County Mayor and the Director of the Sheriff's Department one of the items were just what we talked about just now, was the fact that when these crimes are committed outside Homestead, is there a way that we can identify the crime as unincorporated Dade and not as the city of Homestead? Because I think that we pick up a lot of bad press that we don't deserve. I truly do. I can tell you the 4 different subdivisions of Dade County, unincorporated Dade, that I named, their crime rate put together, I'm sure, is higher than ours. So it's very, very tough to say Homestead, and I get calls from, my mother-in-law in Boston who said, who just got killed in Homestead, and it was in Naranja, So it's a tough situation. We're going to work on it. We're going to work on it to improve our image, but without backing up on the crime numbers, the statistics that you have there now.
I hope that is correct, but...
Yeah, I understand.
See what happens.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and we're on it, and we're going to get back with you, all right? We're going to work with you. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Toma Martinez. I am also a resident of the city of Homestead. I have been living here for 6 years, and I wanted to share with you my concerns as a mother. In regards to the high numbers of burglaries to the residential, to the residences in my community, which is Keys Cove. It's a gated community, and I am very concerned as a mother. I have a 6-year-old, and some of you may have received my email, because I have received no answers pretty much from nobody. So I don't want this to happen to any child. My child, we had to come back from school, and he had to face this invasion of his property. He's usually very concerned, and he's always looking around to see what's going on. And my child, and the children, our children, they don't need to be concerned about the crime. They need to be concerned about the latest books and the toys. Please, I am asking you, as a mother, and there are a lot of mothers here, parents, in my neighborhood, there are a lot of young families with children. I am asking you to please help us, because I want to be part of the solution. I want to see what is it that can be done to counteract this problem. So thank you for your time, and thank you for the efforts. I know that a lot of things have been done, that the city has grown. I see it, and please, I don't want our city to be known as a bad city. I don't want this for my children, and I don't want this for anybody's children. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, we also met this afternoon. And when I received her email, within 2 or 3 hours, we had her in City Hall listening to what her situation was. And I think it's really, Chief, it was a delay, not a delay reaction on our part, but I don't think the system was understood that once the police officer showed up there and wrote the report and turned it in to the Detective Bureau, that there's about a 3-day process before the detective gets back out there and can do what he or she can do for that particular break-in and entering. So we discussed that today, and she understands that the detective does not come out within 24 hours. The police officer comes out immediately, writes the report, and then turns it over to the Detective Bureau. And I think it was just a communication there. But I feel for you, and I feel for the situation, and thank you for coming in. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Council. My name is Dr. Greer, Ted Greer, CEO of Fresh Start Family Services, Senior Pastor of Ebenezer Community Church. It's that time of the year again when we're doing our annual Back to School Jamboree, and last year you were very supportive of us, so we're asking for your help again. Last year we had close to 2,000 families that attended, and we're anticipating that might be a larger crowd because things in this community in terms of the poverty side continues to persist. And so we're reaching out to our community, we're reaching out to our corporate sponsors to help us out again. We want to thank Vice Mayor Burgess, who have already made a contribution, Commissioner Dennis Moss, Continue Care Medical Center, the Inter-American Medical Center, the Children's Trust, who's donating 150 backpacks to us. Mercedes-Benz of Cutler Bay also made a contribution, but we need a whole lot more if we're going to reach our goal. As I said, we expect roughly about maybe 2,500 or 3,000 people this year. So we're seeking your support, and we're seeking our community support, corporate folks that are out there not necessarily cash, but if we can get book bags and school supplies, that's really the need of the families. They show up early on that day. This year it's August 11th, Saturday, August 11th, start at 10 a.m. We're there from 10 to 2, but the folks actually get there at 7:30 a.m. waiting in line to be served. It also includes free food. Homestead Hospital, Baptist Hospital donates food to us to help us with that. Del Campo this year is also going to be donating food to us. So it's a free event, free entertainment. Performance will be there. Miss Homestead and Miss Team USA has also confirmed that they'll be there to join us this year. So we hope that you will support us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Greg Wells, and I live at the same address I told you last time. I'm not sure if I'm breaking protocol or not, but y'all have had time to think about what I offered, and I had some few seconds left. I don't remember how many, but I'd like to see what council thinks about that Citizens Budget Review Committee. I'd like to get some feedback on that.
Okay, I'll open the floor. Council?
Actually, Mayor, I had made some notes here, and I was going to ask the city manager or make mention of this, because I know that the Miami-Dade League of Cities has a county budget committee, and it's composed of elected officials. So there is a process, and I was actually, next year I'm going to see if I'm going to be on that committee as well. And I think it just allows us to look into the budget. I believe they make recommendations. If I'm correct, I believe Councilman Williams was on the one for the League of Cities. Maybe I was going to ask for some feedback on how they worked in that committee and how it helped them, and what recommendations they made as well. So I think it's been done in the past. It's nothing new. I guess I'd just like to hear some more feedback with some other council members.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments?
Just a quick question to the mayor.
Sure.
Outside of the public hearings, you would like for a separate entity comprised of residents to form this budget review committee to bring forth recommendations to council and the city manager?
No. The council, each council member would appoint a citizen that they know, that say, look, I trust you, I know you. I want you as a citizen to look at the budget of the city. Anything that I miss, like when y'all, I'm assuming each one of y'all review it. When y'all review it, a second pair of eyes is common standard. You know? And so the citizen does it, and so they look at it, and it gets them more involved with the city of where the money is actually going. And then they report back, however, I don't know the very details of it, but what you now have is another voice. And yes, if there is any concerns, then we come to the public meeting and says, this line item here, can we find out what's going on with that? Where's that money going? What's happening? That's all. There's no control in it, no more so than we are doing right now. It's just right now, the card's on right here, they're on the table. That's all. I would think that the council people would just jump all over this, unless y'all already look at the budget 2 to 3 hours and take it home. And I'm assuming y'all do that now. I don't know.
And I've spent days on it.
Days or weeks. So that's all. And what is y'all feedback on that? That's what I was looking for.
I mean, we've all spend a lot of time going through and sifting through the budget to ensure that it reflects the priorities of this community. But if it is the desire of this board to bring forth an outside committee to look at the budget with a second pair of eyes, if it's done with integrity, with no malice intended, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Well, if it's malice, it would be appointed by you, because you're appointing that person. That's what I'm saying. Somebody that you trust, that you know, right?
I understand that.
Yeah,
as long as it's with pure intention.
It's
pure
representation. It's just another level of representation. That's all.
Other set eyes.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody asked me to be on it, they wouldn't trust that I would not go in there guns blazing. If I did, I think I wouldn't be on it very long. Because the councilman says, you know what, thank you very much, but I'll get somebody else.
No, I'm fine with it.
I mean, it's good questions.
I don't have a problem with it, because it's not having a problem. Look, let me retract that, because it's your money. It's your fund, so I think that it's very important that the citizen input is everything. We have 2 meetings, and in those 2 meetings, you get 2.5, 3 minutes to walk up to that podium and say, I had a chance to look at it in the few minutes that it was on the back table there, or that it was on the website, and I don't understand line 34 and line 334. So I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, and I don't have a problem with it, and you got my support.
And keep in mind, it's not a community, it's not a committee with its own, it's like a hybrid. You have the citizens, but the only way you can be on the committee is that you're appointed by council. That's the beauty of it.
And what would you think that you would come together once, twice, what?
All right, now you're asking details.
No, because
I'm assuming whatever it would take.
Well,
to the committee, whatever it would take for the committee to feel satisfied, says, you know what, we like this.
Well, the manager's done a good job of moving us along now, and I can tell you that it's very tough to pin us all down. So I wouldn't want to add any type of, further delay of it, but if you could say that it could be moved along in a timely manner, in that window that we have of our first public hearing, I'm all for it, I'm all for it.
Yeah, well, if I'm understanding you,
time.
You would have to appoint somebody very quickly, and then once you do it, the ball's in our court. And then we would, by email, I would communicate to the representative who would appoint me, how I would do it on our time. And it's like council having a committee without actually being there because you sent a representative. This is classic government.
I hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Well, this is the first I've heard about this. And I consider myself an elected official. The committee that Mr. Maldonado was referring to is based all on elected officials on that League of City Board. What precludes you, and I like Greg, I've known you for a long time, we've worked together.
Go ahead.
But, whatever.
Let me have it.
But, well,
go ahead.
Sorry.
You're right.
You asked for feedback, and I'm going to
I'll give it to me. I'm waiting on it.
I think that every citizen has the right to go over the budget. That's why we have the budget meetings. That's why I know that I and many other of us, I'm sure all of us, spend hours and hours and hours going over that budget. What prevents you from calling me tomorrow and saying, I don't like this in the budget? I'd be happy to talk to you about that.
You do.
But
why the committee? I ask the same questions. Why now? Why after 90 years do we need this?
Well,
yeah, good question.
Okay,
Why
you're
can I
asking the
answer?
question, you're the one bringing it up.
No, that's fine. Usually, I like questions. Why? Because it formalizes it. And as far as the city, I watch the city calendar and I get emails, hey, this is going on. The budget kind of like, you get busy with your lives. I'm cutting the grass. I'm doing 3 kids, yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden, next thing I know is, hey, what about that budget thing? Oh, that's already been approved. You formalize a committee. You place responsibility on the citizens, not you, because you're doing your job.
But it is my responsibility.
Well, no, I'm saying you're doing it. But the committee holds the citizens accountable to us to keep a watchdog, if you will, or whatever, or to get involved with the city. That's all it is.
Well,
nothing more. It doesn't cost anything. It's our burden. It's our idea.
Well, then why don't y'all get together as a group and form your opinions and let us know as elected officials. Why do we need to have a committee? That's all. That's what I'm saying, because we have many, many, many residents, many citizens, I'm looking at many of them in the audience, that know exactly what's going on with that budget. And in a way, I feel that if we appoint one person as a representative on a committee, then that's not giving all citizens a right to form opinions, because you say you're going to be the ones that come back as a watchdog and tell us what you think is wrong with the budget.
Well, it's not about rights. You said that word rights. It's not about rights. It's just more transparency. But
you have the right to do that. You have the right to get together as a group of, this section could get together and form their own little organization, just like you did. You did form your own nonprofit corporation, right?
CBH, yes.
Yeah. So you did that.
Right.
But I just feel like that I would rather be open to have all citizens be able to come to me, including you, and tell me what you like or
So
don't like.
you just don't like the appointing part?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't, and I don't like the formality of a committee when everybody has the right to come to us and tell us what you feel is right or wrong. I mean, we have P&Z. That's something that we have in this, and we have formed other committees, boards. But again, as far as the budget goes, it's such an important thing. I have my meeting tomorrow, and I can tell you I've been studying for weeks, but it's a lot of work, and you're welcome to do it. But I just am not in favor of forming a standard committee. That's my opinion. I would rather have all citizens be on that committee. Everybody. Form your own committees. Come to us and let us know.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Pardon me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe just a suggestion, if that's something that, we hear you, and I think the idea is good. My suggestion, maybe just sit maybe individually with each council member, take a few minutes and present it before them, and then maybe if it needs to come back to give some more insight and more argument. That would just be my suggestion. Just because it's not on the agenda right now.
Right.
I hear what you're saying, but we definitely would like to look into it.
And yes, Mr. Shelley, go ahead. I'll go after. Okay, Mr. Mayor, thank you. And just something I wanted to point out, one of the things that was a concern for many, many years was that the budget was being put out kind of in a summation form. It was a couple pages and it kind of hit the high points. And the problem was that the residents weren't getting the transparency. They weren't getting all the information that they needed to assess what was really in that budget and what it meant to them. And I know last year was the first time that I can recall from sitting in the audience or being up here on council that we actually got, like you said, 600 pages worth of information. I actually could look at that budget, as the elected official. I could give it to other people, the other residences to look at, and you could actually go line item by line item and question it. And if you were to call me on the phone and say, why is this the case? I could get on the phone with management or the finance director, or I could say, that you're right, that is an issue that needs to be raised, and I could raise it, where before that wasn't the case. So I think that we have made great strides to make sure that transparency is there and that you have the ability to look at that. And if for any reason you look at the budget when you get it and you say, I need more information, you're free to call any of us at the council level to make sure you get that information as the resident, because the more information, the more feedback I get from you as the resident, the better I'm going to make the decision if maybe you point something out that I didn't see. And so I do think that the committee adds another layer of kind of bureaucracy, that all you end up with is 7 more informed citizens, where really what we need is a whole community of informed citizens. And so I don't know that it accomplishes, I understand what you're trying to accomplish, and I commend you for your efforts, but I don't know that at the end of the day it actually accomplishes that goal, versus making sure that what we've done now is put out a full budget line item for everyone to look at, and for you to contact us directly so that we can get any additional information you might need, or to point out concerns that you have so that we can raise them. And I believe, if I can just close with this, we currently haven't looked at any of the new budget. We're simply looking at, major capital improvements and where they fit in, so that we can start to put together the new budget. And maybe those budget meetings will come up publicly, because I can tell you, I don't know if Councilwoman Wallman remembers, but under Mayor Warren's leadership, we used to have budget workshops. And they didn't even take place in here because not many citizens showed up. They took place right in the city manager's conference room. And we would actually go through the budget line by line. And it's back when we were, strapped $8 million in the hole, $10 million in the hole, 2 different times. And we would sit there and we'd go through that budget with staff, and citizens were welcome to the meeting. They were public meetings. It's your money. And I don't have a problem with it, but maybe we'll have those as we move forward. Maybe we'll have those open public meetings instead of just the 2 meetings that say, what do you all think about it? It's been on the website for 5 days now. Can you figure it out?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, is any further public comment? Okay, I'm going to just quickly squeeze public comment here for a second while everybody's here, because I think this is very important. This Danelle Leyva is part of the 2012 U.S. Olympic gymnastic team. And I bring this up tonight because he is one of those City of Homestead employees who lives just outside the city limits. And Danelle Leyva is a Cuban-born individual, 22 years old, who is now currently rated #1 in the nation in the parallel bars and the all-around. I had the opportunity with Mayor Jimenez last Saturday evening to go up and watch him perform a little bit, and did some photo ops with the Sun Sentinel was there and others. But this young man is predicted to go 1 or 2 in the U.S. Olympics. So I think that it'll make it much more exciting for all of us now that I bring it up, so that you can say, Danelle Leyva, you know, go get him, because you're from Homestead, Florida. He was very proud. He is very proud to be from Homestead, Florida. He boasts about it. He tells everybody about it. I took him a proclamation, and his father, stepfather, actually is his trainer. So remember that name, Danelle Leyva, Leyva. He's already gone to London. Okay, the next item on the agenda is going to be additions, deletions, or deferrals. I know that we have one addition.
To defer this item, Mr. Mayor, card 513.
Okay, card 513 is to add. And what was there not a deletion?
It's a deletion.
That's a deletion. Okay. No, just a retail commercial. And that is a deletion?
Yeah, it's a requested deferral. Do we have a time certain, Jay?
Defer?
Okay, so it's just, it's going to be re-advertised at the expense of the applicant.
Okay.
We need a motion.
Is the applicant here? Yes. Okay, and that's all, as long as you're happy, we're happy. Okay, thank you. Motion?
I'll make the motion to the...
Okay, second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, sir. Okay, next item, discussion, car 544, Centennial Celebration discussion. Yes, please.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I have had the opportunity to meet with the Centennial Steering Committee. I've read all of their minutes from their meetings, and I have provided recommendations and suggestions, and I thank them for being responsive to the feedback that they have received as indicated by the revised proposed events that they have proffered to us. At our last council meeting, we adopted their budget up until October 1st. However, we have not formally adopted their events that they would like to propose. So before I tee this off to you to look at the events and offer your comments, I would like to invite the chairwoman, Mrs. Yvonne Knowles, to talk a little bit about the events with specificity, in particular the August 17th event, because we have to provide them some sort of direction for that event. Ms. Knowles.
Thank you, Councilwoman, and thank you, Mayor, Council, and City Manager for this opportunity to give you an update on our Centennial Committee and to answer specifically the August 17 event. I've just passed out the packet to you. On top of that is the actual invitation for the upcoming August 17 event. This is going to be a ticketed invitation event. The tickets will be available to be purchased by the public. We have a limited capacity at the community center of 300, but we will have tickets available to be purchased at the downtown historic town hall museum, and hopefully at the community center. So the plan is to have a cocktail reception on August the 17th, honoring pioneer families and honorees of the City of Homestead, and also to make this a public event. So that is what the invitation states, and that's what we have presented to you this afternoon. The other calendar event, the other attachment that you're looking at right now, is our full calendar of events for the Centennial celebration, starting with the August 17. Moving on to August 18, which is a public downtown celebration in Chrome Avenue and Losner Park. That will be a free event for the public. We are expecting about 1,000 people to turn out for this event. This will be a combination of a reenactment, live music, great festive atmosphere, food trucks, vendors, and it's going to be a lot of fun for the community to kick off the centennial celebration on that date. The next event will be September 22nd, and that Councilwoman Faircloth has agreed to take the lead on, and that is going to be our children's celebration, which is going to be now at Harris Field. And that will be an event that will be announcing the winners of our children's photography, poster, and essay contest. And that will be shown, that will be a daytime event on the 22nd. So this is a full, and I don't want to go through every date for you, but this kind of kicks off the event. What I'm looking for tonight, if possible, is an agreement and your direction, hopefully, that we may go forward with the August 17 event, and that you approve the schedule as it stands today, open to change and revision with your approval, certainly. But at this point, this is what we have come up with. When you look at the schedule, you'll see 4 bold, highlighted events. Those are the events of the city that the Centennial Committee are actually organizing. The other events are existing events, annual events put on by the city, such as the NASCAR and the rodeo and the MLK weekend. We will be participant in that. We have asked all of those organizations to make a centennial theme part of their celebration. But the 4 events that the Centennial Committee will be specifically responsible for will be August 17, August 18, September 22nd, I beg your pardon, and the November football competition between Southgate and Homestead High School, and then finally culminating in our big event on February the 2nd, celebrating the centennial. So I hope that answers those questions.
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Quick question. You're saying you're going to sell the tickets, how much are they?
$10, sir.
Dollars. And the persons that you are choosing to honor, how would you get those names for the Pioneer families? Are you doing a cross?
The honorees are the previously elected officials of the Homestead, specifically we've gone back 7 mayors, and elected officials from the city of Homestead that will be the honorees.
Okay, so purely formerly elected officials, but you have also Pioneer families?
And Pioneer families, yes.
Okay, how have you distinguished the Pioneer families?
Mr. Losner, one of our committee members, is putting together that list. He's diligently going through old files and finding families here in Homestead that are still here, and there are families who actually are coming from, they've relocated out of Homestead, but are the Bow family, the Lily Lawrence Bow Library was named after, will be coming to celebrate the centennial. There are other members of the community that were part of the founding of this community who have been contacted and who have expressed interest in attending this event.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor. Yes, Mr. Shelley. Just to piggyback on that question, that was my concern as well, is kind of how do you choose the Pioneer family? What criteria you're using? You know, is it just because something was named after them, or I just want to make sure there's a fair criteria so that we don't leave anybody out, and that we go through the process and everyone's considered on equal criteria. So I mean, is there more than just the fact that they had something named, or they were here? Is there something that had to contribute to the community in order to be considered a Pioneer family? Have we worked that out?
Well, we had a list of names of families that were actually here at the very beginnings of the city of Homestead, and many of these family names still exist, or there are members of those families still around. So we're trying to work with the history of Homestead, and that includes all the communities of Homestead. The Southwest District certainly is very much part of that, as well as the families who are part of the original charter of Homestead. So we've done a lot of historical research on this and trying to track down some of these families and see if they're interested in participating. And that's what there may be about 8 of them. I mean, basically this is going to be a public event open to the community. We're just trying to track down some of these family names who might be interested in participating in this event.
And I agree. I think it's good to honor these individuals and these families. I just want to make sure that nobody's left out, that
or is it just because they were families that lived in the city limits and happen to still be around, or did they actually make a contribution to the city in some way? Did they help, like you said, were they the charter members? Were they, did they help put the first school in? Just want to make sure that there is some basis to our choices to make sure that everyone's considered.
Well, it's an open invitation to everybody, absolutely. And then the invitations, we're going to 500 invitations are going to be out there. So we hope to cover the community very heavily with hopefully catching some of the families that are still here who were part of the original charter of Homestead. But it isn't exclusive to them. If we can find them and bring them into the event, that'll be fantastic. But it's a public event.
No, I understand, but are they actually going to be listed as honorees then? Or you're just going to list honorees as our elected officials and everybody else is just going to be invited?
The honorees will be the elected officials.
Okay, but no one else is going to be listed, no families are going to be listed as...
No, it is not our plan to identify all the different families. We're just asking them to come to the event. What we will be listing will be the former mayors and the former office holders of Homestead.
I have a quick question. Through the attorney, are you comfortable with what has been presented to you for the August 17th event? Because I know for the record, there was some concern that this could potentially be a VIP event at the taxpayer's expense. And as it was presented now, from what I understand, it's not. It is a ticketed event. Everyone will be charged to come into this event. So are we
Right,
okay with
I appreciate the conversation that we had, and then I know that you conveyed that to the committee, and the committee was sensitive to that because, with the new rules that the Ethics Commission has put out, we just need to be very careful about these things. My understanding now is that the only free tickets are the ones going to be given out to who, Ms. Knowles?
To the honorees.
To the honorees, which are former elected officials. I think that's totally appropriate. And everybody else, which, would be charged $10 on a first come first, like we did for the 4th of July. And I think that that's a very good way to do it. And I think I did speak to Mr. Santorino today about this, and I ran it by him, and he feels very comfortable with what we're doing.
Great. Thank you very much. So I would like to get a motion to approve the schedule of events if that's possible. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't get a
Yes,
chance
ma'am.
to...
Go ahead.
If you don't mind, I just want
Please.
to comment. You're just asking that we approve the events that the steering committee that they are bringing forth, the 4 events, because the other things are already city events, correct?
Well, we never got a formal vote on this list of events, so I would like to get a comfort factor of saying that you all feel this is a good way to go, and we can, because we want to proceed with planning, and we were afraid to get too far down the road, and all of a sudden we find out that you didn't know about a certain event. So I'm asking for a vote on this sheet also, that you approve this schedule of events, so we might go forward with our planning.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment and say thank you very much to all the people. I had, being home for a while, not being able to go out, I really enjoyed reading the minutes. And Kalia's not here tonight, but I wanted to compliment Kalia on some very thorough minutes because it gave me a very good insight as to what you're going through at your meeting. So I applaud you and wish you well, and I would certainly like to make the motion to approve your calendar.
If I could, just for purposes of clarity, because Mr. Mayor, just for purposes of clarity, Ms. Knowles mentioned a document that had certain things highlighted, and the one that's in our agenda package is a June 20th, 2012 letter. That's what the council has. Is there something different than that?
Yes, sir. I've just passed out the new one to everybody on the council and to the city manager, and that one that's the one I'm asking for a approval of.
For clarity, so what they're asking you to approve is this July 18th, 2012 list of events.
Yes, sir. What was left out on the June 20th was the Pineapple Ball, the Baptist Foundation Pineapple Ball, so I've added that into the list.
And what I want to say, too, before we vote is kudos to you, because as I look at this calendar event, it really is what I had envisioned.
Great.
And what we had looked at, what Fort Lauderdale had done, and you've piggybacked on every major event. And if you find one that we did miss, please bring it back.
I will. Reason I'm wearing hats is we're going to be really gray by the time this is all over. But we're going to do it.
Bad hair days.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just for clarification on what we're voting for on the motion, and that is that we're approving the outline of the timeline with all the dates on it and the concepts that are presented next to those dates, with the understanding that you will be coming back to us for the specifics of each event. So we're not giving you just a green light to say, okay, do whatever you want. It's this concept with these dates as an outline tentatively, and coming back to us for clarification.
Yes, sir. What I'm asking specifically is okay for the August 17 today and August 18, because we're getting close and we need to make our final plans. And as we go forward, as I come before you each month, I'll be bringing you update on the other projects.
Okay, I'll offer that second. There's a motion on the floor.
I got a quick, I see it could just be a oversight, but I see you have the MLK parade, but you don't have the breakfast on here, which is the 18th.
I apologize for that. We did discuss it, and breakfast is part of the plan. Yes, I'm sorry. Councilman McCormick brought that to my attention, and I was retyping, and I forgot that. I'm sorry.
And as you come back to us, that's a good point right there in time right now, is that was missed. So as things come along, if you need to interject some other stuff, please bring it forward.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Item carries. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have one more direction from council? I'm sorry, but we have our branding items now, our shirts and everything, and we'd like to make them available to city employees if possible. I don't know how and what procedure you would like us to follow as far as how you present shirts and to your employees, city manager, but if there's some way we can make it available so that we have the T-shirts and we have the caps, and I'm looking for direction from council as to how I do this.
Council.
Yeah. But it's just employees, so I'm not sure how we do it.
Doesn't matter, it goes through us. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What's the council's pleasure? Yes, ma'am.
Why don't we just leave some at the HR department, and that way, as people come and go, or they would, I don't know if Vivian wants to be in that kind of business, but at least we would have some here at City Hall. That'd be my suggestion. And if I could, Mayor, on your invitation, are you going to have the charge, the amount?
I actually have printed tickets that will be inserted into the invitations.
Okay, thank you.
There'll be numbers, so we know how many are coming that way.
Okay, so suggestion is HR,
Mr. Mayor?
going once, HR going twice.
Yeah, also just generally, as far as selling the memorabilia, I know that you guys are attending each event with that memorabilia. Is it available for any other time to purchase? I mean, is it here at City Hall where people can show up and say if they want a hat or a shirt, or?
That was the question. Right now I have them all at my offices at 43 North Chrome, and I was hoping maybe you might want to have another location for purchasing. But
So it's a twofold question. One for the staff, and two is also for the public.
Well, the public is down at the Historic Town Hall Museum. That's where we're keeping it, and we'll be making that available, information available to the public. I was just talking for your city employees how you'd want to handle it.
I think a couple locations would be appropriate. One's not going to get it, like maybe the community center.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah. The county, city to the other end of the city,
No, that would be wonderful. Community center, again, that's at discretion of the council.
If I could, we could work with Yvonne to try to figure out, how many shirts there are, or what kind of.
Yeah. As long as we get it spread out through the city, so everybody's not coming to one spot
to
buy a shirt.
I'll work with.
Website? Add it to the website?
Yes.
Or city website?
The city website. We have a page all designed. We're about ready to go, I think, with that, hopefully, very shortly.
With the shirts and with your material to sell? Okay, great.
Last thing, in your packet is a sponsorship package, just as an FYI, just to let you know what we're sending out there. We've already sent out sponsorships to Turkey Point, to Baptist Hospital, and to a couple of our large hotels. And we are getting very good response from them as far as being partners in this project. So I just want you to see that, so you know if you see somebody pass it under your nose, you've seen it before from me first. So thank you very much. And we really appreciate having a liaison Councilman McCormick, thank you so much for coming to our meetings. We appreciate that very much. One quick note, the gentleman who wants to have a city-appointed committee, I strongly recommend against it. You can't talk to each other, you can't do anything unless it's noticed 48 hours in advance. It keeps you hamstrung, so stay small, stay in a working committee, don't become a city council committee. So, thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Tim Craig, 1865 Southeast 20th Avenue. I'm also the vice chair. A pleasure being the vice chair with our Centennial Steering Committee. We tried, as you know, to keep the council fully informed. Yvonne does a very good job of reporting once at every city council meeting. You get all the minutes of the steering committee meetings. We really appreciate Councilwoman Patricia Faircloth McCormick coming, and her assistance and advice was invaluable. Just for the council's consideration, at some point, if you would like to have another workshop, therefore, all the members of the city council and all the members of the steering committee could get together and just sort of kick things around, exchange ideas at your convenience. But I think it was not a bad idea at one more workshop. I think it gives a more free-flowing attitude, perhaps more. If you need more information, we are deluging with information, but if you need more, an exchange of ideas at that time, I agree with the idea.
I think you've done a good job in outlining it. Excellent job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't mind having another workshop at some point in time in the future where we specifically focus on more details on some of these things. I do feel like we just get glossed over, between the minutes and then what we get today. I would like to have at least one more shot at it once they have a little more meat on the bones to the events so that we all have the input. So I think that's a good idea.
Okay. And we'll kind of leave that open to who wants to come, and doesn't. Okay. Good deal. All right. Tab to car 515.
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, did we vote on that motion?
I thought we did. All in favor? We did.
Great, perfect, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. This car 515 amended service schedule of bulky trash pickup, I asked to be put back on the agenda tonight, and really for discussion purposes and make sure that I don't think we even voted on it last time. We just all did kind of a discussion and comments and direction of council. So I want to make sure we have everyone here tonight. And is Mr. Maldonado out of the meeting, or is? Yeah, could you just check for me? Because it's important. It's a $600,000 item, and I really believe that all council needs to look at it. And I'm sure there's no change in it, but just as long as we discuss it and ask everything we need to ask.
Mr. Mayor?
Under a council meeting.
Yes, sir. Yeah. You want to start the discussion, or?
Sure, yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, no, my position is the same as it was at the committee of the whole, and that is I think that advocating from a Northwest standpoint, this is something that's very important to the residents of the Northwest neighborhood. Cleanliness of our community. We have a real problem, as you heard from the public comment, regarding the bulk trash. And the issue is that when you only have it every other week, and especially for the Northwest, our pickup's on Thursday. And so if we do our yard work, and we have very big yards with lots of trees, and we generate a lot of bulk trash, we can't put it out by code until Wednesday night, which makes it very difficult to do your work and then turn around, drag it behind your house, and then Wednesday afternoon you get home from work and drag it out. And so what's happening is that it becomes a very problematic issue for code enforcement. And so by having it every week, and by each neighborhood having an early pickup and a late pickup, it allows for code enforcement to be really strict on enforcing that code. And it also allows the residents to have their bulk trash picked up early in the week after doing the weekend's worth of work. And so it helps the overall cleanliness of the city. So I know this is very important to the Northwest. I hear it time and time again. I get more phone calls about this than anything else. And so I support it 100%. And again, based on the information given by Julio, this comes from the operation budget of solid waste.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And there's sufficient funds there generated on an annual basis to cover the cost.
Yes, there is, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, further questions from council? I have another one. Mr. Abreu, tell me, how many jobs does it create? Because that's what I'm for it and voted and nodded and smiled because it creates jobs. So tell me how many max it could create for us.
Okay, this creates a total of, let me count here, 4 jobs, 4 new jobs.
4 jobs?
Yes.
And picks up our trash once a week?
Correct. If you want me to mention them, it will be a field supervisor, PSW 3, which would be for the recycling, and then a foreman and 2 PSW 2s for the trash crews.
And did we look at any other possibility other than bringing it back on full-time? Because I know we spent a lot of money in the past 3 years educating our citizens on this trash day, and I just brought a few items up last time. You know, the county picks up twice a year, and we pick up twice a month now. I just want to be sure that we are doing the right thing, that this is not an enforcement, this is not a code enforcement problem, but this is actually an overload problem, that we actually have this much trash on the street that we need to spend $600,000. To me, it's irrelevant to me whether the department makes $2 million over a year or $10 million over a year, as the power plant makes or does. But I can tell you, I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. We're being proactive, and we're not just throwing money at a problem that really could be a code compliance or code enforcement problem. So just kind of give me a little feedback for the public of what we've done in researching that.
Well, in terms of the frequency of the pickups, we researched basically, I would say, around 12 different municipalities, and it's about 50-50 as to how many go every week or every other week. Of course, there's an added cost associated with going to every week service rather than going to biweekly. In terms of trash production, this doesn't necessarily increase the amount that we pick up. It just increases the frequency that it happens. It's an added service that we will be providing to the residents that they don't have now, and they used to have 2 years ago. So.
And when we reduced this by 2 pickups, and obviously we brought the actual cost amount down to the city, did we do anything in giving that back to the citizen, or we just continued on? Don't answer them.
Mayor, to kind of add to what Julio mentioned, is that you asked the question, is this a trash problem or is it something else? And my answer is a little different than Julio's. It's everything. It's a trash problem, it's an enforcement problem, it's a behavior problem, it's an economy problem, it's a crime problem. And, you know, there's a long-standing belief about the broken windows theory that, you know, when the little things are ignored, the bigger things get out of hand. So first it's trash on the street, and then it's the broken window, and then if somebody sees that that's not taken care of, and you said over and over again, which I believe 100%, a beautiful city is a proud city, and when people take pride in their neighborhood, you see less crime and you see less problems that you do see in other areas where there's bigger crime problems. And so the hope here is that a little bit of everything is applied so that, yes, it's more pickup, it's an increased level of service. Yes, the chief and code enforcement have a plan to deal with some of the enforcement issues, which they already have come to you with some initiatives already. Yes, it is the no littering campaigns, and hopefully, and we all pray, the economy will start picking up and we'll see less foreclosures. And so it really is a combination of everything. And so I don't think there's going to be one magic bullet. It's going to be one thing. I think it's going to be a combination, and it's also going to be a function of proactive government where we stay on top of it. I can tell you, just doing some of the tours with you and with the staff, it's a chronic, constant problem. And we go out there and we do the best we can, but we really need to do a little more if we're going to try to ultimately, hopefully one day we'll come back and say the crime also went down as well, the consequence of this as well. So I think that's theory here.
No, that's good information. I appreciate you going the extra step there with that. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Wayne.
Yeah, I think it represents 2 things for my area in the Southwest. It's a quality of life issue for my area, because as I ride around and see a lot of the illegal dumping, a lot of a lot of it is happening not only in the Northwest, to my colleague, but also in the Southwest, literally on every street. And so I think this is a quality of life issue for me. The other issue was, even though we reduced the services from going to every week to twice a month, the taxpayers kept paying the same amount. So it really did not, we benefited as a city, but the taxpayers, they got the short end of the stick because we went less services, but we still kept the fee the same. So we're only giving back what they should have gotten back 2 years ago. And so that's why I'm really supporting this. And I think it's going to be great. Our city will look a little bit more cleaner and nicer. So it has my full support.
Thank you. Yeah, that was part of my question to Julio, was that did we give, when we took away, did we give anything back? And if we didn't, then it's well put. Okay, any further questions? Yes.
Thank you. I just want to say what I said last time, I fully support it. I think we need it. I think it's going to be up to us to enforce it with code enforcement, and it's going to be a challenge because it just has to be done. I again appreciate the fact that it won't start until January, so that we have a chance to educate the people, and nobody can tell me that it's not going to be confusing. And the gentleman, I don't think he's here, that got up earlier, but he hit it on the head when he said, you know, when there's 5 weeks in a month or this, that, and the other, it's going to be very confusing. So it's going to be up to us to educate, but I think it's needed. So, thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'm piggybacking off of what Councilman Walden just said in reference to the education. I'm wondering, I always pass by Channel 77, and I like to see, I'm wondering if we could put maybe a flyer or something on there that's going to give that time, so that if anyone is, you know, going by that channel, they'll be able to maybe see that schedule of what's going to be happening. I think it's something that will help out, just a piece of information I think would be useful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, any final questions? Okay, thank you. All right, tab 3, consent agenda. Motion, thank you. Second. All in favor? Nays? Item carries. Public hearing ordinances, land use, quasi-judicial public hearing items. What I asked before you read the whole, I know you're ready, I can see you, Jessica, is I'd like to ask council if we can move tab 19 up. Is the news leader here? They're not here. Are they here? Okay, good. Yeah, tab 19. Do we have a problem with moving that up? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Floor is yours, Richard.
Tab 19 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, establishing a proposed millage rate of ad valorem taxation for fiscal 2013.
Okay. Promotion.
Move it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Staff.
Mayor, staff recommends the council adopt a tax resolution providing a proposed millage rate of 6.2435, the rollback rate for $1,000 of assessed value for ad valorem taxation for real and personal property within the City of Homestead. This millage rate is the rollback rate and reflects a reduction from last year's millage rate of 6.2917 mils and would be implemented beginning on October 1st, 2012 and ending September 30th, 2013 fiscal year.
Okay. Questions from council? I'll be more than happy to throw something out there. I'm delighted. This is incredible because as I always hear, and I'm always pushing to say, why is it always forward? Why is it always forward? Why is it always the same? When do we ever roll back? Here we are in a tough economy doing great improvements in our community, and we go from 2.9 to 2.4. And I don't care how small it is, that is a great sign. And that's a great sign of the staff, and the management, and the council. So kudos, kudos, kudos.
Mayor, if I could add,
I mean, seriously, it deserves an applause.
not only are we rolling back, but we're increasing services. So I don't think it gets much better than that. So thank you.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Is there any questions from the public on this millage rate? Okay. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any final questions from council? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Wallman. Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Yes.
Councilman Shoney.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado.
Yes.
Mayor Bateman.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Yahoo. All right, moving back to tab 14, is it? Car number 547.
13.
Let me read the
13. Is it
Mr.
13?
Mayor, read the statement,
Go ahead.
please. Please be advised that the following, items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address. When the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made, an opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after each applicant and staff have made their presentation on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the counsel to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda package on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must first present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. According to Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the agenda. At this time, the clerk will swear in any person who wishes to testify on any quasi-judicial item. Tab 14 and 15.
Please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I state your name, hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, so first reading, tab 14.
Yes, tab 14 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of Susan and William Perkins for a rezoning of an approximately 14,204 square foot parcel from Liberal Business District B3 to Light Industrial District I1. The property located at 138 Northwest 9th Avenue as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Motion? Thank you. Second. Staff report?
Yes, sir. Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the proposed ordinance change requesting a rezoning from Liberal Business District B3 to Light Industrial District B1. The parcel is currently zoned, as I said, Liberal Business District B3 with a future land use map designation of heavy commercial use. The applicant intends to lease the subject parcel upon the approval of the rezoning for a recycling and transfer facility, which will require a special exception, which we'll bring to you at a subsequent meeting. In order to allow the industrial development on the subject parcel, both the zoning and the future land use designations need to be amended. The applicant has submitted a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment, which we'll hear on tab 17, and so we'll be looking to change the future land use map from heavy commercial to industrial use with this application. The light industrial zoning allows for more than 20 different types of industrial uses and permits recycling and transfer facilities as a special exception use.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I have a slight concern about this particular issue or item, and that is I'm familiar with how it came about, and I'm actually okay with a special exception and putting a recycling center within the four walls of the building that exists, not extending outside of that building into the yard in any form or any fashion. And that was my understanding of how it was going to be presented. The problem is I didn't realize that it required changing of the zoning from heavy commercial to industrial. And looking at the industrial permitted uses, there are a lot of uses on that list that I don't agree with and I don't think fit in that area after driving it, because there are residences right across the street. If you look at the other properties, most of them are heavy commercial in nature. And so if you look at the industrial permitted uses, I mean, you have lumber yards, you have canning factories, packing houses, manufacturing. You have a lot of things that don't fit in that particular area. And so I'm concerned that if this doesn't work out for this particular intended project, I'm okay with the concept, but if it doesn't work out and there's another landowner were to open up one of these other uses, that poses a real concern to me because that could easily happen. And so with the list wide open and not having any restrictions on what they can do there, I have a hard time supporting it as it currently exists.
Thank you. Mr. Corradino?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about, I thought we were coming item by item. We'll change the zoning here, but isn't it going to be item by business brought to us? We're going to be able to approve them as we
Yeah,
go
what's
down?
going to happen here is, once you get the land use and the zoning correct, and somebody wants to do one of these recycling facilities, they're done by special exception. So you get to weigh in on that individually, business by business that wants to apply for the neighborhood. The special exception application will come in your August meeting, because we need to make sure that these changes to the land use map and the zoning code are done first, or you wouldn't, if they're not done, then they can't do a special exception. It has to be industrial zoning for them to apply for a special exception. And that's a piece of the code that we changed earlier in the year to allow transfer centers, recycling facilities as special exceptions, industrial areas, not only in the southwest neighborhood, but citywide. So it's a piece of a continuum of what we've been working on for a while.
So it really answers my question, is that we have a control over.
Yes.
There's a control over business by business. Yes, sir.
Mayor, just to add to what Mr. Corradino stipulated, correct in regards to you have control over the special exception for a recycling center, but when you rezone a property, there are a number of permitted uses and special exception uses that are listed in that particular category. And you very well could have someone, and this is with any rezoning, you very well could have someone who will say they're going to do one type of operation, and they may do it, that business may close, or they may change their mind and come in at a later time and decide to pull any one of those off the list of permitted uses. You, as the council, generally will review site plans, but if it's not a special exception like the recycling facility and they're already a listed permitted use, you're really not going to have the ability to say yes or no to that use when it comes in. You'll have the ability to look at the site plan to address and look at any mitigating circumstances that may be necessary for ingress, egress, things of that nature. But you're going to be in a really, the writing's already there, it's already set as a legal use that's allowed in that particular zoning district, and you won't be able to say no at that point, or it'd be very difficult to say no.
Well, I think where I'm having the problem with it is that there's so many buildings sitting there empty right now, and you have a rail system that still runs right down through the middle of two streets there, 9th Avenue and 9th, there's two different 9th Avenue and 9th Court, or whatever it is. And I just think that to again, in the good faith of creating jobs, we need to do something that allows those businesses to start up again and work that rail. And if you look at those small houses that are across the street, I mean they're 1,000 square feet, 1,200 square feet. I believe that most of those houses during my 49 years living here were people who worked the rail, who actually worked that rail yard. And those houses were put there and built there and supported by the rail system. So I'm not trying to take us back to the early 60s, but I'm telling you that you see a lot of closed up businesses down there because they don't have the zoning they need. Yes, Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have an issue with all the permitted uses under the industrial, and that's my concern though, is that if they don't continue this as a recycling, the recycling I'm okay with it. I want to find a way to help this particular company open their doors, but I don't want to open Pandora's box to allow all these uses that don't really fit the area with the other businesses or the residential. I know in prior cases when I was on planning and zoning, sometimes when they would come in to rezone a property, the applicant would voluntarily submit a covenant to restrict the use of certain items on the list. Has this applicant done any type of voluntary covenant of any kind to restrict all the uses or any uses on the property under industrial?
No.
No, he has not. So until I see some, as long as it's wide open under industrial, I have a hard time supporting the rezoning, although I would support the special exception. So that's my conundrum right now.
One doesn't fly without the other. That's the problem. Okay, council, further comments? This is jobs, jobs, jobs. Let's hear it. We up, down?
Question, is it possible that, because this one is a special exception, this one use that we're allowing the recycling center, can't we put that same title on all the industrial that's going to be in there? A special exception?
That's what I was asking.
You have to go into your code, and you would have to modify your zoning regulations to provide that each and every permitted use in the I-1 category is deemed to be a special exception, and then you would also have to modify your I-2 and your I-3, because it's a pyramid scheme, to stipulate that all of those uses would be special exceptions as well.
Yeah, pyramid scheme is probably not too
I understand that. And I think that helps out when you say that there's others connected to it.
Is that if you have a special exception, there's got to be criteria for them. And it just can't be sort of, well, we like this one.
I'm just looking for a kind of a control mechanism, I think is a question.
Can I offer something with you right now? Why couldn't it, I know it's, and I guess we're kind of spot zoning with this, but why couldn't it be just in that area? Because of the fact there is some residential across the street. Why couldn't we just take that particular area and have that control over it?
Special exception.
Special exception.
Mayor?
Why does it have to be on every industrial part of, every industrial piece of property in town? Why can't it be right there because of what occurred there with those houses built right across the street?
There's a mechanism by which you would be able to do an overlay zoning, but that's very similar to the special exception process that you already have set up for these recycling centers. We would have to look at it. You can certainly carve out a number of specific parcels or an area in the industrial district and put an overlay zone on it. And basically that overlay zoning could do a number of things. It could require more controls and more development regulations on top of the property, or you could potentially try to lessen the regulations or controls on that property. But that, it can be done, but it becomes very difficult to administer, and it's going to require you to go through your code and make amendments and several months, a couple of months process for you to do that.
I'm just looking at a way to try to get the best out of both, create jobs and also control the issue. If you look just to the west of there, on about a 20-acre piece, big sign right on the corner of Campbell and Redland Road, with houses across the street, duplexes to the right, and that's, I believe, heavy industrial, isn't it? It says industrial property for rent.
I'm not quite sure exactly which one you're talking about.
Redland Road and Campbell.
Okay.
Right on the corner.
I'll look at it.
It says industrial. Big sign, and yeah, it's just west and just north of the substation. It's just north of the substation. Big sign, industrial property. And again, it's surrounded by housing there. And that's going to be full. I believe that's heavy industrial. I don't believe it's even, doesn't say light industrial. It says industrial property. Yes, Mr. Williams.
Is the applicant here?
Yes, they are.
If we're having this kind of discussion, and I hear the concerns that Council that Shelley raises, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if somehow they volunteer to do a covenant of some of the issues that we have, would that solve the problem? This is to the attorney.
Yeah, it would certainly address the concern that Councilman Shelley raised. It is not uncommon for applicants who come in and seek a rezoning to a particular commercial district or zoning district, knowing that there are some, very intense uses that may not be wanted. It's not uncommon for them to proffer a declaration of restrictive covenants on the property to alleviate the concerns associated with those uses. We as a local government can't condition a rezoning, So generally, in instances like this, the applicant would proffer to the local government or to you all a legal instrument or document that would be recorded that would restrict the property of those uses. You would be the beneficiary, and only the local government would be able to release that restrictive covenant at some juncture in the future.
Okay. Because it seems like, from my understanding, that there's some reservations from some persons on the council, from my colleagues, and hopefully that we can provide, if them hearing the conversation we're having now, knowing that there's some obstacles, hopefully that, perhaps they can to meet us halfway to some point to offer such, but
Thank you.
I guess that would be.
Why couldn't we, are you through, Mr. Williams?
Well, go ahead, Mayor.
Well, why couldn't we set conditions? Why couldn't we look at those items that are in it that trouble you and others and set what we want there and what we want there, list?
Under the case law, Mayor, when it comes to rezonings, we're not allowed to condition a rezoning. In other words, bargain away our police power. If you give me X, Y, and Z, I'll rezone your property. I didn't mean, I mean in general. We go back and we say, here are the items that are allowed in that light zoning area. Here are the conditions. There must be a list and some things that are troubling Mr. Shelley on that list. So let's compromise and work on that list. One of the items is not the recycling, is it?
No, recycling, that's what I'm saying. If all that was left on that list was recycling, I'd be no problem.
Well, I think James has been pretty clear, which is if the applicants are here and they hear what James is saying, if what they want to do, if the council has concerns about other uses on the property and they just want to limit it to this use, I think the applicant they're not understanding. James is suggesting that they could offer a covenant that says, give us our rezoning. We agree voluntarily that we're only going to use it for these uses, and I think that would make the council comfortable. Legally, as a government, we can't ask for it. I can just sort of float the idea, but that's as far as we can go.
Mayor?
Well, yes, Mayor?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I really want to see this go through because I think all that area is going to be industrial. I've seen that section of town. It just it needs to be revitalized, and we have some very successful business owners that are near there, and I'd really like to see it happen. But the applicant needs to listen to what the city attorney has said because we can't ask you.
Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Yes.
The owner, they have some response? The owner's here and applicant of the business.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'm in support of this happening. I just want to make sure that my colleagues are also okay with it. But since they are approaching, hopefully they can provide some kind of resolution to some of the complex issues we're dealing with.
Hi. My name is Susan Perkins. I live at 26,000 Southwest 182 Avenue in the Redlands. And we would like to get the rezoning. We would love to be able to lease the property out and fill it. It's been pretty much empty for a long time, the area. When we first discussed renting and leasing, I didn't think with the existing zoning there would be any issues with it. I think if you look at the list, I could even put an airport there. Honestly, it's on that list for what I'm zoned now. So we didn't think there would be any issue at all. Then getting into it, we learned a lot more. So,
see, right now, the way I see it, right across from me, there's a portable toilet manufacturer. Right behind me, I have somebody that it's a welding yard, and it's got all kinds of stuff all around. On the other side, I have somebody that creates masonry products. To the left of us is a railroad track with an abandoned station. In the upper left is a tow company where they impound cars and put them in there. So, we're willing to work whatever is necessary so we can
definitely. We want to keep we try very hard to keep the property clean and mowed. Everything's in it. A few things need to come out of the yard when they do. you know, when I look around and see what's there, and what I see, that I'm sure code enforcement does not see when I'm there, it's really disturbing that we can't do this in a nice, clean operation, so we're trying hard.
Mr. Mayor? Yes, Mr. Just for clarity for my position, I'm not against the operation.
Right.
I'm definitely not against what you guys are proposing. I support it. It's just that I can't vote for it knowing that other property owners could come in and do anything on this list, which are much more intensive than I would agree to. And so I think that there is a solution here. I think it's been discussed here quite openly, the way to maybe resolve the problem. But me personally, I can't support just rezoning it to industrial outright because there are a lot of uses there that I'm not comfortable with. So if that's the way it comes forward, I'm going to have to vote against it.
I understand.
However, I am supporting the project, and I think we can get it accomplished.
Awesome, thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. White.
So, question to the attorney. You're saying that as an elected body, we cannot instruct them about a covenant, per se, of what they can just limit it to, right?
What I'm saying is that in the past, when situations have come up like this, what the applicants have done, where people were supportive of what they actually wanted to do, but were concerned about what other people might do or future uses, the applicants have said, well, this is really what we want to do, and we're happy to file a document with the city that restricts the use of the property just to what we're contemplating here. That's the way these kind of things have been solved in the past, and that's as far as I can go.
All right.
But my question would be, would be a time limit on that? I mean, is that something that forever, we could only have a recycling center there and nothing else?
Again, I can't tell you what you want to offer, but I will tell you that in the past, these covenants, is what they're called, have run forever. And if there is ever a change in use, sometimes people come back to the city and they say, listen, we have this covenant that restricts the use of the property, but that didn't really work out, that business, and we'd like to do this business. And could you release the covenant, as James mentioned, release the covenant with respect to this kind of property? That's what's happened in the past. I can't suggest anything, but that's...
And that would happen if we were to sell the property or anything? It would stay with...
Yes, it does.
So that
Mr.
might...
Mayor? Yes. Question for the attorney. On the prior type cases that have occurred, the use that was restricted for the higher zoning did not also restrict the lower zoning, though, correct? The lower zoning was still allowed to occur. It's just only the restriction on the higher zoning was the limit? Or was everything off the table except the one item?
There have been a number of instances where I've seen there might have been one or two uses that were particularly at issue, and the applicant restricted the property to those uses. I've seen instances where, for example, a car wash wanted to go in, but the car wash was in a much more intensive zoning district that allowed for a lot of different type of automotive repair types of activities, pretty exhaustive list. And the applicant went through and listed and pretty much restricted that they would not do all of these more intense uses, but it still allowed everything
underneath.
Everything underneath.
So it wasn't limited to one use, it was just the ones they restricted couldn't be done, but the others were allowed in the prior case. Okay, thank you.
And what was the answer to the lower zoning? Is that still in effect? Could that still be in effect? Or could we ask that in our covenant?
Right. You could proffer whatever covenant you wanted to the city. And in the past, some people have it's been allowed that you have the lower uses.
Okay.
It just restricts the upper uses.
Okay.
But it sounds like, to me, respectfully, that maybe this should be deferred, and so they can have an opportunity to think about maybe some of the history of what other people have done. And that maybe we could come back at our next meeting, because it is a decision on their part.
I'll make that motion to defer and see if I get any support.
Mayor, can I?
We got a motion, and
it's on the.
And we don't have a second, so let's go ahead and discuss.
Yeah. If we do that, how long? I mean, what's your timeline on trying to open and everything?
We've been trying for a while now, you know. It's been a total of about maybe 7 to 8 months, and the process keeps getting longer and longer. You know, it's always something. Little things happen, and we try to come up with a solution. So what I'd like to know is, what's the possible solution? Is there some kind of a list that we need to look so we can accept and delete what she would like in her property? I mean, what's going to be the process after tonight?
Well, we can't tell you that. I mean, I can't tell you that at all. I think based on the conversation that you've heard, you know, you can be directed in that format. But my suggestion will be to go back to get with Development Services, and whatever you all come back, you'll come up with, you know, you bring it back. Does it have to wait till the next council meeting? Or?
Yeah. This would basically delay this by a month. It takes 2 readings.
It's 2, yeah.
Mr. Mayor. I was going to say, that was my thing, is that I'll probably vote against it regardless, but there is a second reading, so if the council voted to pass this on first reading, it could be resolved before second reading. But I would vote against it, so if there's enough people to vote for it, then we'd move on, but if enough people vote against it, then it'd be better to defer.
That would be another way to do it. If you were inclined to look at a covenant, you could pass it on first reading and then...
Got it. All right.
Okay.
So any further discussion before we... Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'll make that motion to move it forward as it stands right now. Thank you.
And I'll second your motion.
Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? Let's back up. Oh, I never opened this to the public. I apologize. Public hearing is now open. Public have any comment on this particular item? I apologize. Okay, hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comment from council?
Well, actually, through the mayor, I just would like to commend Mr. Armando Enriquez. I read the planning and zoning minutes, and I like the fact that you were supportive and very welcoming to this new businesses coming to the area. Oftentimes, we come here, and there's a neighbor that don't like the competition coming in the area, but you came to the meeting for the record. You commended them for opening up a business, and I appreciate that. Love thy neighbor.
That's it. Thank you, that's beautiful. All right, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
No.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, tab 15, current number 549.
Yes. Tab 15 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of Prince of Homestead Inn, LLC, for a rezoning of an approximately 1.2 acre parcel from restricted retail commercial district B1 to hotel motel institutional R4 for property located at 1020 North Homestead Boulevard as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Somebody to move it? Motion? Please?
Move it.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Staff report, yeah?
Sir, staff recommends the mayor and council approve the proposed ordinance requesting the rezoning from restricted retail commercial or B1 to hotel motel institutional district, which is an R4. The applicants are requesting to rezone this 1.2 acre parcel from B1 to R4. It's located at 1020 North Homestead Boulevard. The parcel is currently B1 with a comprehensive plan designation of light commercial use. The applicant intends to use the subject property for an assisted living facility upon the approval of the requested zoning. In order to allow an assisted living facility on the subject site, the current zoning must first be amended along with the approval of a special exception that will come in a subsequent meeting. The applicant has submitted the special exception, but we'll hear this at a later date. The property is is currently the site of the Inn of Homestead. That's all I've got.
Okay, questions from council? Yes.
I read this today, I read this past weekend, and I read it again today. And is the owner here? Is this currently being operated as a hotel?
Yes.
It is currently being operated as a hotel. Okay.
Is the applicant here?
They're not even here.
And I wanted to know if it's a weekly rental or a monthly rental or a daily rental. It's,
Probably shouldn't.
it concern, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The applicant's not present. We're in a quasi-judicial hearing setting. Normally, if an applicant's not present to respond, to answer questions, we have in the past deferred the item until such time as a representative or an applicant's present to be able to address any issues or concerns that you may have or that staff may have.
Do you need a motion to
I
do
move
that?
to defer.
I second.
Okay, got a motion to defer in a second. Any further discussion from council? I'll open the public hearing to the public. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council? Yes.
Was this applicant notified of today's meeting?
Yes.
Okay. We didn't get any word or anything from them?
Don't know where they are.
And this will be a deferral to a date certain of the August,
Council meeting.
for
The date of the
August 22nd.
August 22nd.
Thank you. Deferred to August 22nd.
Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Maldonado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wallman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Yes.
Councilman Shelley.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Bateman.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, legislative matters.
An ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the budgets for the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2011, ending September 30th, 2012, by increasing the total budget revenues and expenditures by $4.4 million, providing for repealer, severability, and effective date.
Okay. Move it. Motion.
I move it.
Second. Okay, staff.
Mayor, this is a request to transfer funds of $2.2 million for the relocation of Pump Station 1 located near the intersection of Chrome Avenue and Southeast 8th Street pursuant to CAR 519. Project costs include the design, environmental permitting, and construction of the new pump station, gravity sewer line, and upgrades at the wastewater treatment plant. Staff recommends the mayor and council approve and amend fiscal year 2012 budget for the utility repair replacement and improvement fund, as well as the wastewater utility enterprise fund by $2.2 million each.
Thank you. Questions from council?
Yeah, you say where's the money being transferred from? Trying to.
Mayor, members of the council, it's coming from the repair, replacement, and improvement utility fund.
Okay, and that fund there has,
God bless you, utility fund.
how much available in it?
It currently has, prior to this transfer, it currently has a little over $8 million, of which $3 million is dedicated for sewer improvements. So we're going to be taking 2.2 out of that and putting it into the wastewater sewer fund.
Okay.
Okay, any final questions from council? I'll open the public hearing. Any questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Wallman. Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Yes.
Councilman Shelley.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado.
Yes.
Mayor Bateman.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Next is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting request of Susan and William Perkins for a small-scale amendment to the comprehensive plan by changing the land use designation of an approximately 14,204 square feet parcel from heavy commercial to industrial use located 138 Northwest 9th Avenue, is legally described in Exhibit A, providing for an effective date.
Motion.
I move it.
Thank you. Second.
Second it.
Thank you. Staff report.
Yes, sir. Staff recommends the council approve the proposed ordinance requesting a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment from heavy commercial use to light and industrial use. This is a companion to the item we had just heard. This is the comprehensive plan aspect of that. You typically need to have your comprehensive plan category in order, and it's implemented by the zoning code. So once we get this industrial use ready, then if you decide to pass the zoning, which we just heard, that will match this, and they can go and apply for their special exception.
Sounds good. Questions from council? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Yes.
Councilman Shelley.
No.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Woolman? Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you.
An ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 3 Boards, Committees, Commissions, Division 5 Male Youth Council, amending the qualifications and terms of office for members of the Mayor's Youth Council, providing for severability, for inclusion in code, and providing for an effect.
Motion.
I move it.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Staff.
Mayor, the changes are to amend the term of office from 1 year to 2 years, amend the appointments and reappointments to be made in September of each year to include and/or as vacancies arise, amend the creation, composition, and qualifications of members from grades 9 through 12 to grades 8 through 12, and amend the council membership to provide for a broader representation by modifying the existing code provision to include both private and charter schools, in addition to Miami-Dade County public schools located within the city limits.
Thank you. Questions from council? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to commend Councilwoman McCormick for broadening this Mayor's Youth Committee. I recall Mayor Warren, when I last spoke to him, he just said, make sure that you work with this youth council, so I'm in support of this 100%, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Also, dittos, kudos. I hope to, hopefully we can fundraise and do some great things and maybe take these kids once again to Washington, D.C.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the goal.
Thank you.
I would like to see them go to the Florida League of Cities, too.
There you go.
Yeah, because
Sounds
they
good.
have some very
Yes.
good...
Actually, the Florida League of Cities, on the last day of the event, they have a whole
yeah.
program for the Mayor's Youth Council. And I was originally attending myself, but it's geared towards the Mayor's Youth Council.
Right.
So next year, rest assured that the Mayor's Youth Council will be there amongst other places. And I thank all of you for supporting this item at the CAL meeting, and I look forward to your support tonight. I was interested in expanding it to 8th graders so that they can serve as apprentices, so that their transition can be seamless moving into 9th grade. And I also wanted to be more inclusive to include private schools and charter schools because they provide a different educational experience. So I thank everyone for their support.
Thank you. Okay, roll call.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, we've done tab 19, so tab 20.
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, adopting and authorizing submission of the 2012 Action Plan to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, providing for adoption, implementation, and effective date.
Okay,
I move.
motion. Thank you. Second.
Second it.
Staff report.
Mayor, staff requests the mayor and council approve the attached resolution and the community development block grant 2012-13 annual action plan, and further authorize mayor and/or city manager in his absence to sign and submit all necessary CDBG documentations to HUD prior to the August 15th deadline.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council?
Comment?
Yes, please.
I originally, when this came before us last month, I did not support this item because I felt that there was a greater need in the public service area, and I wasn't necessarily comfortable with the amount of applicants that responded, as well as our outreach to other nonprofits. I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Perez, our finance director, as well as the consultant, and we found that we had surplus funds available of $107,248 for CDBG projects that came under budget, as well as administrative costs. So I am in support of this item tonight. I would encourage my colleagues to move forward with ratifying it, because after this is approved from HUD, we will go out for a second round for nonprofit assistance in the amount of over $100,000 geared towards the public services area. So if there are nonprofits out there that are interested in putting in an RFP for these entitlement funds, I encourage you to send your updated information to our city clerk so that you can get your fair share of this pie. So I thank Carlos Perez and the consultant for your work on this item.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Mr.
On
Sheldon.
that same note, I know this is, because of the discussion we had at the COW and the concerns of those that were just raised by Ms. Fairfax McCormick, are we going to discuss this earlier next year to make sure that we don't run into the same problems that we've run into 2 years in a row, as far as making sure that we know who we're targeting, that we're reaching enough people, that we're making sure that the right organizations are getting notice of these things and aware that this is available?
Yes, Councilman Shelley, actually, next year we'll also be preparing the 5-year consolidated plan, which is the broader aspect of it in addition to the action plan for the next year. So yes, we will engage the council in projects and ideas.
And this will be prior to putting it out to bid, correct? So we're not going to have it out to bid and then we're going to get the input like this last 2 years. We're actually going to be part of that process, determining what the bid is going to be before it gets placed, correct?
I don't understand when you're saying out to bid. I apologize.
Well, because when you put out the RFP for people to apply for these grants, it's been going out first, and then it comes to us, and we all raise these concerns. This isn't what we envisioned, and so I just want to make sure that we are consulted first before the RFP goes out to these organizations, so that we are part of the process, part of the plan, and we can make sure that it's focused where we want the money focused as far as the applicants go.
Understood. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Yeah, Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
So, just for the record, the plan is to fund how many nonprofits or how many groups?
There are currently 2 non-for-profits that are included in this. It's the YMCA at $100,000 and the Les Jardins. I'm sorry, New Hope, I apologize, New Hope.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to state it for the record, because we're making a decision, but then we didn't hear what we were, probably need to know exactly who we're funding to get these, for those dollars. So those names again are for the record are who now?
YMCA at $100,000 and New Hope Corp at $71,380.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further questions?
Yes, and for the record, thank you for forwarding me the applications for the RFPs, because it was very helpful on the back end to read the applications before I was strongly against it on the front end. And New Hope, your application was phenomenal. I love what you're doing in this community, and I think the funds, if approved from HUD, that you will receive will go to great use. So thank you so much for investing in this community and doing everything that you can to help that very fragile population.
Kudos to New Hope. I spent some time over there last year, and what you do is phenomenal. And you do it very quietly, but very effectively. So hearing no further questions or comments from council, I'll open the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you. All right, final item, business from city manager.
Mayor, I just wanted to point out today that maybe to humanize some of the things that you do here that people don't necessarily see, today a family came to the window at the manager's office and they've been sleeping under the turnpike last night. And today they're sleeping in a hotel, a mother and a father and 2 kids, and they're at a hotel because the people that you allow to work with them today. So the folks at SOS, Eileen and Anna, and they're at a hotel tonight. They're safe, and hopefully we can work with them in the future to make sure that they move on with their lives and do something more than what they have right now. They're perfectly capable of working. They just fell on hard times, and those are the kind of programs that you offer here. And so just wanted to point out it's a real thing. It happens, and it came to your doorstep today, and we were able to help.
Thank you. It's a beautiful story. City Attorney.
No report.
Okay, this person here, Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Yes. On July 11th, the state of Florida released the school accountability grades for schools within the state of Florida. And I would like to publicly commend Melissa Aguiar, my good friend, principal at Charter School at Waterstone, for maintaining their A grade this year. The stakes were high, the bar was raised, and in light of that, the charter school at Waterstone maintained their A grade. The district and the city of Homestead didn't get as hard as I had, and many of us had originally anticipated. West Homestead Elementary, Lawrence C. Saunders Elementary, both in the southwest section. I commend them for increasing their grade from a D to a C this year. We still have a ways to go, but anytime you're going up, that's always positive. As well as other schools throughout the city that maintained, they held the line on their grades, so kudos to them. Keys Gate maintained their B, Gateway K-8 maintained their grade. When we have the workshop for our centennial, I would like to add education onto that agenda for the workshop, because we really need to discuss how we as a council will be supporting schools within the city of Homestead. Our middle schools got hit the hardest because of the formula. Camel Drive Middle School went to a D grade, so we really need to focus on middle schools at the Education Committee and as well as with the council. I would also like to commend new administrators that will be coming to lead in the city of Homestead, and I would like to welcome them at our September council meeting. Ms. Lisa Carroll, the new assistant principal at West Homestead Elementary. Stacy Frater, the new assistant principal at Homestead Senior High. Louiso Frazier, the new vice principal at Homestead Senior High. And Ms. Lisa Nofo, the newest principal at Mass at Homestead. So I would like to commend those new administrators in the city of Homestead. You will see them in September, as well as new teachers that will be coming to the city of Homestead in September. In addition to that, I'm excited about a trip to New Orleans this week. I'm attending the NALEO conference. The NALEO is the National Council for Latin and Elected and Appointed Officials. No, I am not Latin, but I applied for it anyway. Many told me, oh no, they won't sponsor your trip. I said, I'm not Latin, but I represent a Latin constituency. So I believe I'm the first non-Latin that they sponsored to attend the conference. So I'm excited about that. I believe Councilman Maldonado will be joining me, so you may have to interpret so.
We don't speak Spanish over there, know about it.
I'm excited about going to New Orleans. There are openings on the Community Relations Board. There are 2 openings, so if there are any residents out there that would like to be a part of this very, very effective board, I invite you to apply through the City of Homestead. And finally, I'm excited about the Mayor's Youth Council. Rest assured that this will be a very effective and engaging council of progressive young individuals in the city of Homestead, and I look forward to being the liaison for the Mayor's Youth Council. That is all I have for the Mayor. That's all I have. Back to the Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Shelley.
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay, Councilman Williams.
Yes, Mayor, thank you so very much. On August 7, 2012, the Southwest Advisory Board, in conjunction with the South Dade Weed and Seed, will host a backpack drive during a national night out that Weed and Seed put on. So we are collaborating with South Dade Weed and Seed, and the Southwest Advisory Board will be giving out backpacks August the 7th, 2012, and I think it starts around 4:30 at the FICA Williams Community Center. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Maldonado.
Thank you, Mayor. Just as Councilman Faircloth McCormick just said, that we'll be attending NALEO this weekend. And the reason we're going to NALEO, it's sponsored with FEMA, and where they're working with elected officials and making sure that we're working with the EOC centers and making sure that we get the message out across as we have these emergencies. For us, it's hurricanes, and it's a lot about preparedness. So it's helping us as elected officials get prepared to set policy and standards in order so that we can bring that back to our community and be effective in those areas. FEMA's, one way of FEMA's tackling the major issue of not having enough money to go around or funds because they're limited, you know, we need to go back to education. And so this is, we're working together with NALEO and FEMA to bring back education for the city of Homestead. So that we'll have 2 representatives over there working to bring some good policy back to the city of Homestead. In reference to the Education Committee, we'll get back to our meetings. We have, even though that we had summer break, we did have our education meetings, and we will have one at the end of this. The last Thursday of the month is where we always hold our education committee meetings, so be prepared for that, as well as, like Councilwoman just mentioned, that we will be hosting a summit, a back-to-school summit with all the administrators of the new schools. So we'll host the new administrators, the new teachers, and bring everyone together with this education committee to make sure that they're aware of all the services that we provide here in the city, and also that they know that we as a city support this education system. We're 100% behind them, and so that we'll be hosting this back-to-school summit very soon. On a personal note, I just want to take this time to thank the City of Homestead staff, this council, and all the friends of the City of Homestead. Of course, I'm just getting back from 3 months. I've been away for 3 months, and as many of you as well know, that I unfortunately lost my wife to cancer. I've got on board with Michael Hitt and the Relay for Life, and obviously to offer, my feedback in order to make a difference. I'd like to report that me and my daughters are doing well, and with the support of this city, the love of the city, and the support of these friends, we know that we got a good future here, so no better place than Homestead. So again, I thank you all that sent your well wishes, and I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's it from me, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councilwoman Waldo.
He made me so emotional. I wish you only the best. And if you know, if you ever need him.
You've been there.
First of all, I'll get really down to business. I know that I spoke to the attorney about our domain name of Homestead is Home, and the last time, I think, Richard, that we spoke, you said you really needed direction from council. So I'm asking my colleagues tonight to give the city attorney direction to regain our domain name of Homestead is Home. So does that need do you just need direction?
Because it will involve taking some, fairly aggressive action on our part. I'd like a motion from the council directing us to do that.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion. I want to say a few comments in reference to that.
Sure, go ahead.
Listen, it's funny that the name is very catchy. Homestead is Home. Yeah. Well, you came up with it, and I heard the story how they got it. Unfortunately, what happened, from my understanding, is that she was up here mentioned it, Homestead is Home, we should get it, and unfortunately someone,
No, we voted on it, it was...
Yeah, but
we own it. We registered it.
Right.
I mean, it belongs to the city, and, it came out of a contest.
Mm-hmm.
And after it was adopted, we filed the appropriate papers to protect that name.
And we just weren't able to get the domain name. Someone went out and got the domain name ahead of us. But what I want to mention is how in this community and outside of this community is how that Homestead is Home is mentioned, and not because of where it's at, the domain is, but because of the name itself. So I'm totally in support and aggressively pursuing and getting this name that belongs to us, the city.
Excellent. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Item carries.
Okay, and next, Mayor, and I'll talk about this more at the next meeting, but on July 4th, I want to thank our staff for doing such a wonderful job. We had, I don't even know the exact count, but I know we had over 11,000 people there, and it was really a success. And again, I'll talk about that at the next meeting. We also have a summer camp program that's available from 7 to 6:30 at the Keysgate Charter School every day. So contact Parks and Recs if you want to enroll your children. And this next thing I'm going to announce, we may have a problem with the date, because Mr. Williams, I didn't know that that was the date for the backpacks, August 7th. But Councilman Shelley and I are sponsoring a town hall meeting August 7th at 6:30 at the community center regarding the windstorm insurance. I've had just a ton of phone calls from people whose insurance have doubled, tripled, quadrupled with citizens, and Mr. Shelley had heard, as I did, we both heard Representative Saunders speak about this. So That's scheduled right now. We haven't put the press release out. Right, Anna? It hasn't gone out. August 7th at 6:30. So do you know what time your backpack drive is, Mr. Williams?
It starts from 5 to 8. It's in conjunction with the National Night Out that we do.
Okay, well, we're going to have to just talk about that to see if that's going to conflict dates, because I don't want to impinge on that event, because that's a very important event. But anyway, that's going to happen sometime. And this is very near and dear to my heart. As many of you know, for the last 10 years, I have done the Kindness Awards. The Kindness Awards, I originated them when I did the Second Wind 10-year anniversary of Hurricane Andrew. And I was able to talk to so many people all over the country who just came down here and did random acts of kindness to take care of us when we had no place to live, no place to get a meal, nothing. So this year it's that time again, the anniversary of Andrew, which is the 20th anniversary, to celebrate people in the community who have done random acts of kindness and who just have paid it forward. So a press release went out today asking people to send in their letters. If you know anybody that has done something that you just think is just a nice act of kindness, please write a letter about them, send it to me. And on August 21st, I will be having a luncheon for the winners and the past winners to just to acknowledge that this is the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Andrew, and that's where the Kindness Awards came about. So more information will be coming out about the luncheon. It will be at the Speedway, but again, you know, tickets will be first come, first served, and it will be free to the community. But I'll be putting out more about that later. But please send in your letters, even if you think it's just something so small as just somebody taking your garbage can in when you're ill. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's an act of kindness. So please send in the letters. And thank you, Mayor, very much.
Well, thank you. All right. A couple appointments here. The appointment of Art and Public Places Committee, LaWanda Bragg. Motion to move that on? Move it. Thank you. Second. All right. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Nays? Item carries. Appointment of Tourism Advisory Committee members, Timothy Craig, Chair, Hugh Hudson, Elisa Fields, Stacy Palmer, Kevin Gregory, and Danelle Torres, Brian Canessa. Motion to move those on? 7 items?
Mayor?
Yes?
Question on those names. Are those persons who have been appointed previously, or is it the same committee, or is it like we've been doing other appointees before?
This is Vice Mayor Burgess's committee, and this is the list that was provided to me tonight to move forward to you all and discuss and ratify.
Okay.
There's some couple who have on before.
You want to speak? Sure. Sure.
Timothy L. Craig, 1865 Southeast 20th Avenue. Councilman Williams, my understanding, working as the restructuring of the different committees, for instance, previously Vice Mayor Burgess was the chair of the Homestead Committee Image Advisory Board. I was the vice chair of that. The restructuring, my understanding, the members of the City Council will be liaisons to different committees, just as Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick is a liaison to the Centennial Committee. The current, or the proposed makeup of the Tourism Committee is a combination of some of the people, 2 of us anyway, who are on the Image Advisory Committee, and I believe the other 5 are people who formerly were members of the Tourism Committee. Also, Vice Mayor Burgess sent out publicized asking people who wanted to serve on the committee, and those people who did want to serve submitted their intentions to our fine city clerk, Ms. Sewell. Also, each of the individuals proposed on the committee represent certain segments of Homestead, such as the Speedway, such as the Air Base, things like that.
I have no questions about who's selected. I just want to know to the mayor what the process was in that. So there's no problem with it.
Okay, we had the motion and second, and all in favor? Nay?
She doesn't have a second. Second?
And a second by Mr. Williams. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir. Real quick, I want to share with the council and staff, we have been going back and forth with the Florida Department of Transportation for about 2 years now on the possible second interchange off the what they call the extension to the turnpike along North Canal Drive, 328. And I had the opportunity about a month ago to sit with the governor and to quickly slip in this particular project, which is about a $12 million project to do the on and off ramp going south and north. He liked the idea. He picked up the phone and he called Secretary Aneth Prasad. I forwarded the information to him. We received a letter back today that reads, Dear Mayor Bateman, the Florida Department of Transportation has reviewed your request for the southbound exit ramp and the northbound exit ramp at Lucy Street on the Homestead Extension Florida Turnpike. There does not appear to be any fatal flaws in the preliminary review of this request. I am pleased to advise that the department is committed to begin the P&E study, the development of environmental study, and ultimately construct an interchange as described, provided that there are executed contracts in place for the development of the adjacent property on each side, and that the development of the development partners are willing to pay half of the interchange. Half. That means they've gone from saying they will pay nothing to paying 50% now of the interchange, providing that we supply contractual, not us, the landowner supplies contracts that some type of retail is going on the 96 acres to the right and the 40 acres to the left. He closes with, thank you for this opportunity to participate with FDOT. We look forward to working with you. Together, we will seek and make a positive contribution towards job creation and the long-term economic opportunities of the city of Homestead. So I think that is a huge move for us. I don't know how many of you know what type of impact the Florida Keys accept every year, but I can tell you that Visit Florida came out with some new numbers right here as of January of last year. 86 million people go to the Florida Keys every year. So if by the grace of God we can get the on and off ramp on 328 of what we're in the middle of with Mr. Bria's now project, the 4-lane of 328, this will be a huge economic impact for the city of Homestead, because we will create a second footprint, just like the pavilion that we have now off of Campbell. We will be able to create that off of 328. Also taking 30% of the load off of Campbell, because Campbell in the morning is a nightmare going north. So this is a huge impact for our community. And I'm just hoping that the property owners and developers who had looked at it in the past will look at it again now that the governor's office is willing to pay for 50% of the on and off ramp. And I forward a letter to each one of you all and to the manager. And Julio, I know I'll forward one to you because I know you know it's a big deal, because the turnpike authorities, the turnpike people do not spend money. They do not build on and off ramps in cities. So this is not really through them. This is through the governor's project to create jobs. When he looked at the project, he said this is job creation at its best. So I think that we're on the way to creating some new jobs for Homestead.
I'd like to just piggyback on that. First of all, congratulations is in order, you know, as I said to you before. But one thing that we need to consider is if this should happen, the city owns a lot of that property on 6th Avenue where Parks and Recs is and procurement and all those buildings, and that's going to make that property so valuable. And that 6th Avenue, we should already start looking into four-laning that. I'm sorry guys, my brain goes a mile a minute. And on top of that, if this should happen and we should sell that property, then we need to start thinking about where we would relocate those city departments. And so that's something that should be something that we should be thinking about long-term, because it's very, very true. Because that whole block is going to be extremely valuable. And we own it all the way to the back. Sorry, I'm just going off. I want a Macy's and a Target. But that property will be very valuable, and we can't wait to the last minute and lose the opportunity. We should be looking as to where we might want to relocate some of those departments if this should happen.
Put them in a new city hall.
Well, that's true. Don't get me started. As I sniffle. Thank you.
Move.